Every fountain pen tells a story. Many tell of art or culture. But the fountain pen we're looking at today tells a story of endurance, of celebration, of coming out of a dark age. Today we'll be considering the Conway Stewart VE Victory in Europe 80th Anniversary pen. So join me, won't you? This pen calls back to May 8th, 1945, a day when the guns finally fell silent, when a joyful continent rejoiced in the fact that war was finally over after years of conflict. This day would be forever known as VE Day, Victory in Europe. The armies of darkness had finally been defeated. Crowds gathered in Trafalgar Square, in Times Square in New York, in Paris, all around the world to celebrate this momentous and hopeful moment. In London, Winston Churchill addressed the crowds. God bless you all. This is your victory. It's the victory of the cause of freedom in every land. I really enjoy fountain pens that relate to certain events or certain artists or whatever it is. I really love when there's a narrative, and I think it's also incredible that Conway Stewart is putting out these sorts of bespoke fountain pens for different anniversaries and different things that are very important in the life of England as a nation. And this pen is particularly meaningful because it's the end of a war. This is a sign of hope. This is a new beginning, a refreshing period. And if you think of the advances that were made after World War II, leading up to our present time in that great expanse of relative peace and security and all the cultural advances and everything else that occurred as a consequence of that momentous day. I also want to thank my friends at Conway Stewart for sending this pen to me to have a little bit of fun with before I send it back to them. I won't be keeping this pen, but it's always fun to try it out. This pen is meant to honor that momentous day 80 years ago, VE Day. This fountain pen also has a few tricks up its sleeve, which I appreciate and I'd like to introduce to you now. First off, within that beautiful poppy on the top of the cap, perfectly rendered, incredibly done. It looks like jewelry. It's just really striking. The poppy is made from beautiful enamel, just striking in the light. Very, very pretty and well done. Another thing, and maybe the first thing you notice about this pen, is that the general design looks very vintage. It looks like an artifact from those times, or slightly even earlier, like a 1930s style pen with a flat top and that general shape that you would see in Duofold and some of those other pens from back then. Amazing. I love that style. I love it about my Churchill Honey Noir pen as well, that it looks like an artifact. But where there's a bit of a trick here that I love is that instead of stacked celluloid, which is sort of what it looks like when you first look at it, those rings are actually words. Words that were etched into the pen to commemorate VE Day. It's pretty neat and pretty amazing. These are excerpts of Winston Churchill's speech from that day and from George VI as well. The pen is crafted from high density black acrylic. It's very reflective, it's very pretty, and you do feel that density because the pen does have some heft to it. It's about 40 grams. The rings around the pen are made of sterling silver and they have all the hallmarks on there as well, which is always really interesting and neat to me. Seems to be very much an English thing, and I like it. I like anything that's traditional, that harkens back to an older time. Now this pen is $689 US at the time of filming. Tariffs and whatnot can affect this, but they change almost daily, so please consult the website for any updates on those. I will say it's also a cartridge converter pen. That's good and bad. At $689, I do wish it was piston fill. I love an integrated fountain pen where everything is there, but there are benefits to cartridge converter pens. For one thing, if something should happen, they're super easy to just swap out for another converter, whereas a piston fill system needs to be maintained by someone who knows what they're doing, and that someone is not me. At knocking on $700, I kind of do wish that it was a piston fill. Now the nib is an 18 karat gold nib. The blanks are made by Yovo, they're finished by John Sarakow, so you get a master nib meister looking over every nib. That is very assuring to someone like me who obsesses over every little item, and often when I get something new I feel like there's something wrong with it, so I like that a professional has crafted it, made sure that it writes perfectly before I get it. I wish more brands did something like that. Now, Conway Stewart was kind enough to give me 2 nibs to try out on this pen. The first one is a broad cursive italic. Pretty amazing. The second is a flex nib, which I'm very curious to see how this one writes. So we should do that together. Of course, what is most important is how a fountain pen writes. So let's begin with the broad cursive italic nib and see how it does. I've filled it with a quintessential English ink brand, Diamine, and I used Autumn Oak because it's autumn in New England. It has that feeling. So I feel like this is the perfect ink. These are my first strokes. Let's see how she does. That's pretty great. It's really nice because sometimes when you do cursive italic, you can get a bit of edge, a bit of sharp shoulder that drags across the page, like a tooth biting in. This one though, oh, it's so smooth. So smooth. Wow. I really like this. Also, I'm really liking this ink. It's expressed well through this. Wow, so far it's pretty great. I'll have to say, this is always the challenge when I am sent pens to demo. I have to send them back, but occasionally I buy one. I'm gonna try to keep a little emotional distance from this one. I personally prefer any kind of stub or italic for line variation over a flex nib. Now we're going to try a flex nib next, but I do find flex nibs to be a little exhausting after a while because they do require pressure. And I'm a very light writer. I don't like to exert a lot of pressure on the page. In fact, sometimes I don't necessarily feel when a nib is soft unless I sort of do a test of its softness, because I like to just graze the page when I write, which is probably why I like really smooth nibs. That's what I'm finding with this. Let's try to flex. So it's very nice how they did this. It's easy for me to try 2 different nibs because I can just swap out the whole assembly. Don't have to really bother at all. I really like that. So I'm good to go now. Being very careful. Okay, so this is the Conway Stewart Flex Nib. I'm pretty excited to give it a try. I've also filled this with a quintessential English ink from Diamine. This one, Oxblood, which I thought is very striking, very interesting, perfect for the occasion. Also, I'd like to add that Flex Nibs remind me that even in the 1940s, people were still using a lot of dip pens with flex nibs for official certificates and whatnot, and of course there were flex nibs around then as well, so it kind of ties it into the history, which I really like. Okay, let's give this a shot and see how it does. Okay. Okay, so it's very smooth, which I like. It's not giving me the most line variation. That's kind of the issue with a lot of modern flex. It's nice for emphasis if you're signing your name. You can get a nice downstroke, but it's not the most for emphasis. If you're going for a lot of line variation, it's not the best for that, but it's very pretty and it does have nice softness. So it's very enjoyable to write with. So is it possible someone with some artistry could do better than I? Oh yes, very, very much possible. And I do like this nib. I would add it to my selection of pens just to have a bit of variation, but it's not blowing me away for line variation. It is very enjoyable though. It's very nice to write with. I like where the threads are. It makes it feel very comfortable. I mean, I imagine I'm probably supposed to grip it more up here, but I tend to be further back on my pens when I write. And I like that you can feel these threads, but they don't feel sharp. So it's very comfortable for me. Pens hit me in a good spot, nice and balanced. Those engraved letters look absolutely beautiful. And look how the light just hits this pen. It's a very pretty pen. So I think if I were to choose between these two nibs, between the flex nib and the broad cursive italic, I would take the cursive italic. I think you get line variation and more character to your writing with much less effort. If you like a flex nib and you like a soft nib, this definitely gives you that feel. But for me, I'm going with the cursive italic. As the years passed, VE Day didn't just become a day of celebration, but also of remembrance for all of us who need to continue to stand on the line lest the armies of darkness rise again. It is now our mission to ensure peace and prosperity for years to come. Winston Churchill's words echo across the years. This is not victory of a party or of any class. It's a victory of the great British nation as a whole. King George VI reminded everyone that the sacrifice was shared and that liberty carried a cost. This Conway Stewart VE pen enshrines those words, those sentiments. It literally puts history in your hand. Each time you write with it, you feel a connection to that time, to those people. It makes you want to write really important things with this pen, and that's fun and inspiring. In that sense, this VE 80th anniversary fountain pen from Conway Stewart is a bridge back in time to a time when the world was on the brink, when the future was at a crossroads, and it could have gone either way. In 1945, a whole continent exhaled, celebrated the rebirth of freedom. 80 years later, in 2025, we remember. With every stroke of this fountain pen, every time you write with it, you can remember those we lost, those that sacrificed, that put everything on the line for the cause of freedom so that you could live your life in prosperity. So at the end, do I recommend this fountain pen? It's beautiful. If VE Day means a lot to you, if you've had family that fought in World War II, this is a fantastic way to honor them. It is a lot of pen. It is very pretty. It feels fantastic in my hand. It's a lot of fun to write with. The nibs are very, very interesting when you get a flex nib or a cursive italic in broad. Something different. Something distinctive. The way that this is made with the words engraved, it's very inspiring. It's almost solemn. So I do think it's a bit on the pricey side. $689 is a lot of money for any fountain pen, and there's a lot at that level that are quite good. But this one is made for you. It's a limited edition of 80 pens. It's pretty extraordinary. So if this pen inspires you, who am I to say no? So thank you so much for watching today. And if you've reached this point, please subscribe. From the fountain pen, we go to some amazing places, even back 80 years to the end of World War II. And if you want to support the channel even more, consider becoming a member. I'd love to have you behind the scenes, and for Illuminati and Cognoscenti members, we have a pen pal group. So come on, join if you like. So I make new videos all the time, and I have a live show as well. So I can promise you, we will see each other again very, very soon, further up the road. So take care of yourself.